Hello everyone, welcome to the Crystaly Recapped channel. François works as a philosophy teacher at a lycée in Saint-Étienne. 17-year-old Mathilde is late for his class again. The last time she attended was over 2 weeks ago. This time she can't explain the reason for her tardiness, so François sends her out of the classroom. After the lesson, François notices a group of people gathered around Mathilde, who is lying on a bench at the bus stop. Learning from them that she was first crying in the rain and then fainted, François offers to take her back to the lycée. However, Mathilde asks him to take her home instead. Once in her apartment, Mathilde undresses and gets under the blanket. She doesn't allow François to call a doctor, saying she just needs to sleep a little. Locking the door as she requested, François returns to the lycée. From Mathilde's file, he learns that she lives here alone. Her parents are in Paris, and she has 2 brothers with whom she barely keeps in touch. François is surprised that with such poor academic performance, she even made it to the final year. François takes Mathilde's file with him and goes to her apartment. While she sleeps, he tries to call a doctor, but Mathilde won't let him, saying that she already feels much better. She throws off the blanket, revealing herself fully to François. She then goes to take a shower and asks François not to leave her alone. Mathilde is scared and needs someone to talk to. Reading through her file, François asks why she doesn't live with her mother in Paris. Mathilde explains that she's tired of visiting her mother in the hospital every 2 months, as she constantly tries to commit suicide after every breakup with a new lover. Her father brought Mathilde here to Saint-Étienne, far from her mother, and left her. Mathilde invites François to stay for dinner. She knows he's married and hands him the phone to call his wife and let her know. Mathilde promises not to cry anymore because the teacher treated her kindly and she appreciates it. After dinner, François drives Mathilde home and advises her to keep studying, as it will be very helpful in the future. Mathilde invites him in, but François has to go home. She kisses him on the cheek and thanks him for the day. The next morning, Mathilde arrives at François' class. She asks for permission to take her seat and apologizes for being late, explaining that her math teacher held her back. François asks the class to define the concept of unconsciousness. Mathilde raises her hand and François invites her to take his place. Her answer is so comprehensive that the entire class begins to applaud. After the lesson, François informs Mathilde that there will be a staff meeting at the school today to decide her future. Mathilde won't be there, but François can call her after the meeting to let her know the outcome. At the teachers' meeting, François manages to convince the principal and other teachers to give Mathilde another chance and not to expel her from the lycée for her frequent absences and tardiness. When François arrives at Mathilde's place, he tells her about the positive decision in her favor. Since Mathilde is struggling with math, François decides to help her with the subject. During the lesson, a boy whom François doesn't know comes to see Mathilde. She takes out an envelope, steps outside, and hiding around the corner, hands over the envelope. When asked who it was and what she gave him, Mathilde replies that it was a childhood friend and that she gave him money. Angered, François leaves without even letting her kiss him. François arrives home and the phone rings. His wife Catherine answers it. It's Mathilde, and she asks to speak to François. Wishing him a good night, Mathilde says that she hugs and kisses her teacher tightly. Catherine asks François why he seems so troubled and who this student is that he addresses informally. François explains about Mathilde, who seems like a difficult child but is, in fact, a very gifted person. François praises the girl so much that Catherine asks him a logical question about whether he has fallen in love with his student. François denies it because he has Catherine. In the morning, the phone rings in François' apartment. Catherine picks up the phone, but no one on the other end of the line wants to talk. The phone rings again, and this time François picks up. It's Mathilde calling. She just wanted to say hello to him and tells him again that she kisses her teacher. In the classroom, François sits down with Mathilde to check the assignment. The girl touches his arm, which makes François stand up. After class, the man comes to Mathilde's house to study again. François spends time with the girl, but the next morning Mathilde does not come to class. After class, he goes to his student's house but finds that the doors and windows of Mathilde's apartment are closed with shutters. No one answers his knock. François gets into his car and, after waiting for a while, notices a group of young people coming out of the yard where Mathilde's apartment is located. François goes to the girl again, scolding her for not being at the Lyceum today and bringing home some teenagers. Matilda considers this a manifestation of jealousy and kisses François. She closes the shutters and then undresses. From that moment on, they spend a lot of time together, but François is forced to return to his wife every night. Once, Catherine handed her husband a letter from an anonymous sender stating that François was in love with someone else. Her husband defended himself, saying it was from a malicious person and that he loved only Catherine. At a teachers' meeting before the vacation, everyone praised Matilda's improved performance and thanked François for helping her with several subjects. As he was leaving the meeting, François ran into Matilda, who threw herself around his neck and began kissing him. The girl suggested they go to bed quickly, and the couple ran to François' car, which was witnessed by the school deputy director. At Matilda's apartment, the phone rings. It is Matilda's father, who informs her that her mother has once again tried to take her own life and asks her to come to her. François offers to go with the girl since the vacation is approaching and Catherine will be away for 2 weeks. However, Matilda is against it. François asks if her brothers know about this, but Matilda says no one knows where they are. From Matilda's personal file, François remembers that her brothers had problems with the police and starts asking about it. Matilda's older brothers, when she was only 11, were involved in trafficking illegal goods. One day, they got into trouble and were arrested. After their arrest, the girl was forced to work to make a living. Matilda asks François not to be angry with her. She shared this because she trusts him. François returns home to find the phone ringing incessantly. He contemplates whether he should answer it. Catherine, realizing that it is probably Matilda, causes a scene, packs her things, and advises François to think things over while she is away on vacation. A few days pass, and François calls Matilda, who updates him on her mother's condition. She promises to return as soon as possible, admitting that she misses François terribly, loves him, and really wants to see him. After some time, Matilda returns and immediately goes to see François. After spending time together, the girl suggests that he leave Catherine, but François is opposed, knowing that it's just a fleeting affair. A few more years, and François will be old and uninteresting to Matilda. However, the girl tries to convince him that she loves him and will love him for the rest of her life. When the vacation ends, Catherine returns home. François tells his wife that Matilda had suggested he leave her. Catherine then asks what stopped him. Was it because she is 17? During the first classes at school, François notices Matilda sitting at a desk with a boy. They look at each other lovingly. François constantly watches Matilda, feeling jealous. He asks the girl to stay after class. Once all the students have left, Matilda approaches François with her boyfriend. They inform him that Matilda now has a new address because they are living together. Hearing this, François throws them both out of the classroom. The next day, while checking student work after class, François hears voices in the neighboring classroom. Opening the door, he sees Matilda with another boy. François pushes the boy away and slaps Matilda. That night, at François and Catherine's apartment, the phone rings again. When Catherine answers, the caller hangs up upon hearing her voice. The woman reveals that in the morning when François left for school, Matilda called her, insulting Catherine and threatening her. Arriving at school, François asks the deputy principal to transfer Matilda to another class. At that moment, the phone rings in the teacher's lounge. It's Catherine. Some vandals on motorcycles have painted graffiti on her shop's walls and smashed the windows. Additionally, on the way to the shop, someone crashed into her car with a truck and then fled, leaving the truck behind. Enraged, François rushes to the school. Bursting into the classroom, he grabs Matilda and takes her to an empty room. François demands that she leave his family alone, but the girl refuses, receiving a slap for her defiance. Matilda says she loves him and gets another hit. She approaches François, embraces him, and forces him to reciprocate. Unable to resist, the man begins to undress Matilda, which is witnessed by the deputy principal. The woman leaves the classroom and stops a student who is about to return for textbooks. The deputy principal tells him that the room is closed and heads to the principal, but the boy still enters the classroom. After leaving, he shouts to everyone that the teacher is hugging a girl inside. The next day, Matilda leaves for Paris, and François is transferred to a school in another city for his actions. Catherine, learning about François' behavior at the school, divorces him. A year passes. François returns home after classes when the phone rings. A police inspector from Dunkirk informs François that the body of a girl named Mathilde Tessier has been found in the city. François goes to the address provided, where he is shown Mathilde's body. The landlord of the apartment where the girl rented tells François that she had arrived there 2 months ago. She never went out, ate nothing, and spent her days staring out the window. Approaching the window, François realizes that Mathilde had been watching the doors of the school through which he passed every day. This is the end of the movie. That's all for today. Subscribe and like if you want more videos like this.